The Lord of Murder shall perish, but in his doom he shall spawn a score of mortal progeny. Chaos will be sown in their passage. So saith the wise Alondo. Sadly, Alondo did not specifieth what it would take for these mortal progeny to sow some chaos in our passages, eh? Well, far be it from us to allow an ambiguous prophecy to keep us from getting our hands on some balls, Spawn. Welcome to Hard Choices, the podcast where we rank the fuckability of a fictional universe and discover what lies at the beating heart of horniness. We'll find the median, the zenith, and the nadir of fuckability, but really, this show is all about the golden pantaloons we left on the floor of our room at the Friendly Arm Inn along the way. This week, we explore the world of Faerun via a game series that has redefined not one, but two generations of computer role-playing games. We're looking at the Baldur's Gate trilogy. I'm your Dungeon Master, Dan Mulcairn. Joining me at the gaming table, moments before we sweep aside the grid maps and miniatures and perform acts upon the table, the likes of which Gary Gygax never dreamed, are Miles Schneiderman.
Been waiting my entire life to say this. Go for the dick, Bob! Go for the dick!
I mean, you don't have to tell me twice, but I don't know what that's a reference to.
Mackenzie.
Auntie Ethel, please.
Just, okay, sure.
That's it. That's all I'm doing.
Great.
Beautiful.
And Meganbob.
I don't play video games, but I do like fucking.
And I should say, Meganbob, Miles, and I are all recording in the same room, a decision which is always fun and always leads to substandard audio. So
Indeed.
Listen, this is the way of the world.
But
Mackenzie's
above
whole
par banter.
Above par banter.
I'm over here in outside Seattle by myself with my
That's
cat
right.
on my lap.
Well,
Oh, I miss Seattle.
well, listen, you're holding us down with actual good audio on this. Fingers crossed. So, okay. This episode is all about the characters from the Baldur's Gate trilogy of video games. We looked through the many friends and enemies you make across these three games and handpicked the 21 that we thought most deserved our crotchular attention. We've each ranked these characters on separate lists from most fuckable to least fuckable, and we're going to go through these lists together, starting with everyone's median pick, their number 11. Oh, Miles is still recovering from
I don't know how, but I forgot how stupid this podcast.
How dare you talk about my child like that?
That's a compliment.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, so we're starting at number 11 and proceeding all the way down to the bottom, the nadir, number 21. Then, once we've taken a short rest and gotten our hit points and spell slots back, we'll proceed from our number 10 picks all the way up the list to our zeniths, number 1. As we go through these lists, we'll give a brief summary for our reasons for ranking these characters in the ways we did, but each host also has up to 3 big feels that they can draw upon in case they have more to say about a particular character, for good or ill. Once we've revealed our rankings, these will be collated together into a single master list, which we will reveal to you and to each other, but not before taking a moment to unpack some of the choices we've made along the way. Now, the Baldur's Gate games span decades in our world, a century in their own world, and more than one completely different version of D&D, but despite all these changes, one thing has remained the same. The meaning of the word fuckability. Bob, will you please remind us of this definition?
It's not about what they look like. It's about what they fuck like. So, assume you are into them, they're into you. How good is the sex? And what is it like?
We're just about to get started, but as everyone who's played these games know, you can't take all of your favorite characters out adventuring with you at the same time. Party size limits are a thing, and sometimes you have to leave some people behind in the inn that we call honorable mentions.
Number 1, Volo. Volo, along with other characters like Elminster and Drizzt, appear as cameos in the series. Volo has a particularly memorable questline in Baldur's Gate 3, but as cool and funny as it can be to rub shoulders with these characters, they're not really a big part of the story.
Number 2, Zan. We were originally going to include Zan from the first 2 games, but when Bob heard there was a super grumpy elf twink in the mix, they stuck him in a big old sack and hauled him off over their shoulder, and we haven't seen Zan since.
And you never fucking will.
Number 3 on honorable mentions are Zar and Montaron, the 2 lovable murderers that you meet on the road first thing out of Candlekeep in the first game. And speaking from my own experience, they're 2 of the first characters I recruit in that game, and almost always the first 2 characters that I kick out of the party as soon as someone better comes along, and so it was here.
So true.
Yeah, fuck them.
Number 4, Jierdan Fearcrag. For a game series based on Dungeons & Dragons, the Baldur's Gate trilogy is shockingly, disappointingly short on notable dragons. Fearcrag is probably the most noteworthy of them, but sadly not noteworthy enough for inclusions on today's list.
Number 5, a challenge to me personally to say these names. Enver Gortash, Ketheric Thorm, and Orin the Red.
You fucking nailed
you
that
did it.
shit.
Got it, buddy.
Thank you. Years of fantasy novels. A foursome with the chosen of the Dead 3 from Baldur's Gate 3 would absolutely be a night to remember, provided you survived the experience. But we couldn't get them to stop plotting against each other long enough to make it happen.
Number 6, Raphael. Look, let they who don't go weak at the knees for a sneering, preening demon lord cast the first magic stone spell, or magic bone spell, as it were. Sadly, Raphael's screen time in Baldur's Gate 3 is not quite long enough to warrant him an entry on the list, nor are certain other things.
Number 7, Isabel and Dame Aelin, and this is borderline a big feels for me, because once saw a Reddit thread in which people were submitting the NPCs from Baldur's Gate 3 and that they most wanted to see a romance option for, and immediately Isabel and Dame Aelin came to mind for me. I would love to be the meat in an Isabel and Aelin sandwich, but some things are just too beautiful to be.
Aelin has 100 years of pussy eating to catch up on, and we are not invited.
That's true. We gotta give him some room first.
Number 8, Minthara. The only major companion from Baldur's Gate 3 not showing up on our list. It hurts to cut her, but she's only the second most interesting Drow Sundari that the series presents us with.
And now, for the 21 characters we will be ranking.
Number 1, Minsk. From Baldur's Gate 1, 2, and 3. A towering, physically imposing human ranger and berserker with a good heart and a strong sense of justice. Due to some ill-defined head injuries, Minsk doesn't always have the firmest grasp on reality. This sometimes causes him trouble, but also led him to befriend Boo, a, quote, miniature giant space hamster. So, who are we to judge?
Number 2, Jaheira from Baldur's Gate 1, 2, and 3. A half-elf fighter druid and part of the secretive order of do-gooders known as the Harpers, Jaheira is headstrong, stubborn, and proud in the first game, and while the decades have worn her down some by the time we meet her in the third game, she still has a sharp, witty edge and doesn't hesitate to bring the pain to evil wherever it lies.
Number 3, Edwin Odoceron from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. A human conjurer and member of the Red Wizards of Thay, Edwin is arrogant, conniving, amoral, and condescending. Famously described by none other than our own Meganbob in an episode of Smash Fiction as having to, quote, carry an EpiPen in case he's exposed to teamwork.
That's a great line.
It's really stuck with me all these years later.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I bet you didn't even have to look that up.
Nope. Right in my back pocket.
I didn't even know him then, but across the room I was like, that guy.
Yeah, you pointed them out.
Number 4, Imoen from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. A human thief, Imoen is the bubbly, cheerful childhood friend of the protagonist of the first 2 games. Imoen joins her friend in their exodus from the library fortress of Candlekeep and across the breadth of Faerun, eventually learning of her true heritage as a ballspawn.
Number 5, Viconia Devere from Baldur's Gate 1, 2, and 3. A drow cleric expelled from her subterranean society because she decided to worship the evil goddess of night instead of the more mainstream evil goddess of spiders.
Dare she?
Viconia struggles to make a life for herself on the surface, unjustly persecuted for her race, but also pretty justifiably persecuted for being a bit of a jerk.
Number 6, Saravok Anshev from Baldur's Gate 1, 2, and 3. The main villain of the first game, Saravok is a human fighter who, upon learning of his heritage as a ballspawn, decides to leverage his adoptive father's criminal empire in a bid to kill every other ballspawn and ascend to the throne of blood as the new god of murder.
Number 7, Aerie from Baldur's Gate 2. A cleric mage from the winged elves known as Avariel, Eri was captured and enslaved at a young age and kept in such horrific conditions that she lost her wings. Thankfully, a kindly gnome named Quail saved her, and she later joins the main character's party in their fight against evil. Eri is shy, naive, and timid, but has a strong sense of goodness and justice.
Number 8. Jan Janssen from Baldur's Gate 2. A gnome illusionist/thief who operates in the city of Athkatla as a tinkerer and inventor. Jan is a rather mischievous character who engages in self-contradictory tall tales, practical jokes, and wild inventions, and has an unusual fixation on turnips and griffins.
Number 9, Mazzy Fenton from Baldur's Gate 2. A halfling fighter with dreams of becoming a paladin.
Bella's gonna be in here, and we just have to kind of...
Okay, yeah. All right, Bella, you let me know whenever I fuck up. A halfling fighter with dreams of becoming a paladin, Mazzy is fearless, skilled, and selfless in battle, determined to show her worthiness of taking up the mantle of a holy warrior, despite 2nd edition D&D's unfair and arbitrary class barriers for certain races.
Yes,
yeah,
I know.
Bella
doesn't like it either.
Number 10. Animan Delrin from Baldur's Gate 2. A human fighter cleric of noble birth hoping to become a knight. Animan's genuinely righteous drive to protect the weak stands in contrast to his rather obnoxious, boastful behavior, as well as his deep sense of insecurity about his unworthiness to the role to which he strives.
Number 11, Corgan Bloodaxe from Baldur's Gate 2. A dwarf berserker whose bloodthirsty, murderous nature and tendency to make crude jokes and insults make him one of the more colorful companions in the series. Corgan is sometimes hinted to have hidden softer depths, but as of this recording, hints are all we've gotten.
Number 12. John Irenicus from Baldur's Gate 2. An exiled elven mage who conspires to steal the divine soul of the main character in order to regain his lost immortality. Irenicus is cold and calculating with occasional flashes of wild, uncontrollable fury. A Hannibal Lecter type with phenomenal magical power.
Number 13, Bodhi from Baldur's Gate 2. An elven vampire who forms a sprawling coven of vampires to assist John Irenicus in his diabolical plans. Bodhi is a bitter, cruel woman who enjoys nothing more than tormenting her enemies with psychological mind games before finishing them off for good.
Number 14, Astarion Ancunin from Baldur's Gate 3. A high elf vampire rogue formerly enthralled by the vampire lord Cazador, Astarion finds himself unexpectedly freed of his master's control after he's implanted with a mind flayer tadpole, like you do.
Mm-hmm.
Astarion is sarcastic, flippant, flirtatious, and amoral, reveling in decadence, violence, and physical pleasures.
Number 15, Gale Dicarios from Baldur's Gate 3. A human wizard whose unprecedented magical skill attracted the attentions of Mystra, the goddess of magic herself. The two became lovers for a time, until Gale's ambitions grew too great and he ended up cursed in a big bad way. He often uses humor and puns to deflect from the deep, gnawing sadness and despair he feels at his approaching inevitable doom.
Number 16. Karlak Cliffgate from Baldur's Gate 3. A tiefling barbarian whose time spent in the eternal blood war is clear from the scars and burns across her body. Karlak hosts an infernal engine in place of her heart, which runs so hot that her body literally burns those she comes into contact with. Karlak is impulsive, rowdy, and reckless, prone to fits of rage, but with a positive attitude and deeply kind heart.
Number 17, Lae'zel from Baldur's Gate 3. A Githyanki fighter in the service to the goddess Blackith. Lae'zel is a fearsome, practical warrior disgusted by the thought that she might be turned into a mind flayer, the greatest enemy of her people. This puts her on a path of conflict with her race and goddess, but Lae'zel has never been one to back down from a fight.
Number 18, Shadowheart from Baldur's Gate 3. A half-elf cleric of the goddess Shar, Shadowheart willingly gave up part of her memories to better serve her goddess, but the longer she walks the path that Shar has set her on, the more she questions her orders. Shadowheart is aloof and haughty, but despite her devotion to the goddess of pain and loss, she can be quite kind and understanding beneath her cold exterior.
Number 19, Will Ravengard from Baldur's Gate 3. A human warlock who made a pact with an archfiend to protect his home city. Will has rejected the life of nobility he was born into, instead becoming a wandering protector of the weak. Will is elegant, charming, and selfless, struggling to remain a hero despite the whispers of his demonic patron.
Number 20. Halsin from Baldur's Gate 3. An elf druid and leader of the Emerald Grove, Halsin's burly form belies his calm, quiet, and introspective demeanor. His connection to nature and ability to transform into animals can lead to, maybe, the single wildest sex scene ever seen in a AAA video game.
Truth.
Number 21, the Emperor from Baldur's Gate 3. A renegade mind flayer who helps the main character at various points in the game. The Emperor openly defies the main villain of the game, but the player may have good reason to not fully trust him. Still, when it comes to selecting a sexual partner, a lack of trustworthiness can often be overcome by an abundance of face tentacles. And boy, is that good news for the Emperor!
All right, well, let's get into these characters in every way possible, starting with our number 11s. Mac, why don't you start us off? Who do you have as number 11?
My number 11 is Corgan Bloodaxe. I understand myself, and I myself love me a bloodthirsty man who's full of brutality. Throw me around in bed, Corgan. Hold me down and prone bone me, man. Pull my hair. Fuck yeah!
It's gonna be that kind of episode. All right,
Wow.
let's go.
Excellent.
Prone bone!
But sometimes I need something else. And the only hints you get of him having any other depths is like in number 2, late in the game, and you get like a hint of it, and that's not enough for me. So he's stuck here at 11.
Yeah, that is a very fair reading of him. How about you, Bob? Who do you have at number 11?
Sarevok Anchev. Brat Noop. I want to walk up to him and go, impress me. He's going to punish me, and I think he won't stop until I admit that he's the best. Can he make me admit that? Doubtful, but it'll be fun to watch him try.
How about you, Miles?
I have Asterion at number 11.
Okay.
I think mainly because it just seems like it seems like he should be good, but because of his aesthetic is trying too hard.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm a vampire and also a fucking rake and also a moral adult. Like, all right, man, you can't be all these things. You're compensating for something.
You think it's a little hat on a hat-ish?
Yeah. I just like he slotted in well with the medium position because I just feel like there's it should be better than it is.
Interesting. Okay.
That's
All
legit.
right. My number 11 is Yen Jensen.
Wow.
I think he's pretty weak on fundamentals. He does get points for creativity and novelty, though.
Okay.
Like you could see Yan and like have sex with him 100 times, and every time would be completely different.
Whoa.
I think
Like
that's legit.
he would always have some kind of like new gadget he'd want to try out, or some new weird place he wants to try fucking in, or like some new position that he's heard about and is fully convinced that he will master on his first time. Like, I don't think that any of these encounters will fit like the dictionary definition of good sex, but like I do think you're going to be coming back for more out of like curiosity than anything else.
Dan, I moved him, but he was originally my number 11
All
when I
right.
first made the list.
Yeah, all right. That makes me feel better about where I put him then. All right, so those were our medians. Let's move on down to number 12. Bob, who do you have as 12?
Minsk. I think the secret to sex with Minsk is that you completely enter into his world and accept his framing of reality. Like, once you do that, pretty sure, like, you're going to be swept away, treated to, like, a princess fuck.
Mm-hmm.
That shows, like, honor, skill, prowess. He fucks hard, but carefully. My only concern is that at breakfast, Minsk is going to tell me, like, oh, you kind of need to be quieter. Boo found your screams unpleasant. And like, I don't know how I feel about getting sex notes from a miniature giant space hamster.
Okay. Miles, you were number 12?
My number 12 is Bodhi. I kind of put the vampires together because I don't... Like, as you all know, having done a vampire episode, all vampires are hot, but they vary widely in terms of fuckability. And I don't really love D&D vampires in that area.
Okay.
Also, Bodhi's name now, because my life has put me in this hellhole that I made for myself, just reminds me of a previous NXT talent. So
Okay.
I'm not, yeah.
My number 12 is Mazzy. And like, she's perfectly fit and quite flexible. So like, I think she has a lot of, physical traits necessary to have a good time. And she's also like kind, intuitive, and empathetic. So, but she's also like confident and self-assured. All of that is great. All of that is excellent.
Okay.
Right? The thing that holds her back from being like a top tier pick for me is that she's so serious most of the time. Like, I can't really see her being especially like playful or impulsive in bed. And like, I think if you propose something that was like new or experimental, she just kind of like shake her head and like insist that you do the usual like, 3 or 4 positions that she's kind of settled into. And like, she's very good at those positions, but she's not like interested in exploring too far outside of them.
Fair.
Mac, you're number 12.
My number 12 was a hard one for me, but it's Karlach Cliffgate.
Wow.
Karlach is so hot. She's so fun. She's so nice. I love Karlach to pieces. But the thing is, you can't trust her infernal engine to, like, stay solid enough for fucking, like, for eternity, man. So, like, one minute you're having the best sex of your life, but the next minute it's like, it's too much, and she's burning and exploding and you're turning into fucking cinders. And I don't mind a little bit of pain, but I don't want to be fucking dead at the end of a sex session. And so because of that, I've got Karlach here, even though I love her to pieces.
Wow, you know what? It says a lot about how much you love her that you're like, well, she might turn me to ash, so I guess that puts her
At
around
12.
the middle of the list.
Exactly. And we're not even at my number 10 or higher yet.
Yeah, oh, buddy, I can't wait. All right. We're moving down to 13 now. Miles, who do you have at 13?
I have Jaheira at 13. She is at the top of a 2 or 3 person tier that's basically like the kind of boring tier. Like, Jaheira's fine, but she's a regular good person hero, and so that says 13 to me. I think she has perfectly conventional, perfectly cromulent, conventional missionary sex is what I'm expecting out of Jaheira.
All right. My number 13 is Halsin. Wow. Yeah, I know. Let me explain myself. So you have 2 options with Halsin, as far as I'm concerned. You either keep him in his elf form, in which case he's like second guessing every move he makes, and is like holding himself back so he doesn't accidentally shapeshift. Or you let him cut loose and go full bear form on you. In which case, like, that one speaks for itself, right? So sex with Halsin is like playing the video game Guitar Hero, right? You can play it on easy or medium, but the fun doesn't really start until you start playing on hard or expert. Now, I can play Guitar Hero on expert, but I'm not going to fool myself into thinking that I'm an expert level bear fucker. At least not yet in my personal sexual journey. So I feel like I'd be playing Halsin on medium. And much like medium difficulty on Guitar Hero, it's fine. It's fine.
We're immediately going to crowdfund Dan's like bear fucking montage.
Yeah, that's right.
This is we can get this for Dan.
I certainly hope so. All right, Mac, you're number 13.
My number 13 is Astarion. I love him as a character, again, but if you get to know him, he's a guy who's been hurt, who saw sex and flirting as a means to an end and a thing to hide behind. And with that in mind, I think he'd be good, but there'd be no life to it from him. Like, I get the feeling that this man is just not actually into sex. He'd be with you, and he'd do it because he knows you like it, but it's not something he's into. And that's fine. It's just not top tier material.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the vibe I get from him too. Like, not to jump in, but like, because I already talked about him.
Feel free to jump in.
With Astarion, it's like one of those guys who knows all the words about sex. Like, you like to have the sex, do you? Yeah. I also enjoy the sex. And then you get him in the bedroom, and it's like he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And doesn't really care to.
Yeah.
Well, I think Bob and I are going to be presenting some dissenting opinions in about an hour or so.
That's all right. I'm going to provide some dissenting opinions about bear fucking soon.
All right. Excellent. We have a podcast. Meganbob, you're number 13.
I don't know how I feel about this, but it's Will Ravengard.
Mm-hmm.
So I've met some guys who, like, have turned away from some form of privilege to fight the good fight. And, like it's not a bad thing. It's not that. It's that there's inevitably going to be some whiff of, like, aren't I super good for, like, doing the right thing, though? Like, aren't I? And that's a real turnoff. Like, I don't know for sure that he has that whiff to him. But if you're gonna raw dog me with a sense of self-congratulation, buddy, it had better be because you can't believe your fucking luck.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. We're going to move on to our number 14s. I will start this one because my number 14 is Will. I think Will is going to be sweet and awkward. He's going to be trying very hard to get things right. He's going to bend over backwards to like set just the right atmosphere, make sure that you enjoy yourself thoroughly, and he's going to be crushed if anything goes wrong. The best part about spending a night with him is that moment when you take control from him and you allow him to finally relax, to like stop being the person in charge who needs to make sure that everyone else is taken care of, and to see that look of gratitude on his face where he realizes that he's like safe and cared for by you. Mac, your number 14.
My number 14 is Jan Janssen. I feel similarly to you in that each time would be a new adventure, but I feel like the majority are not going to be good adventures. The man knows incredibly well how to stroke the clit and pump and make you have a great fucking time, but then he'll get distracted, or he'll pull a turnip out of something and want to stick it in you. Or he'll just like throw a smoke bomb down and then disappear and then come back and he's like in a griffin costume and he wants to involve that in some way, and it would just turn into Bizarro Town where I could not pay attention. Also, his voice sounds like an eccentric grandfather in a film, and I'm not into that.
I mean, that may not be your thing. I can think of maybe one person on this call for whom that would be an appealing thing. Speaking of, I'm just going to pick a random person apropos of nothing. Meganbob, who's your number 14?
Oh, I don't. We'll see how this goes down. Viconia.
Interesting.
Okay. Oh yeah. All right. Look.
I'm shocked.
Romancing Viconia would be a heroic undertaking, years long. Look, I'm good. I've got a lot going on, and like, it's super fine for me if she just treats me as her obedient sex pet for a while. She is always the top. She could have every opening full of dick or dick analog, and she would still be the top. I just feel like you want Viconia? You need to have started practicing kneeling with handcuffs behind your back 10 years ago.
And you have not done this?
No, Bob's been busy practicing bear fucking.
Some of you study the handcuffs. I study the bear.
My whole world has exploded. I don't even know who I am anymore. Like, I don't know who you are. I don't know anything anymore.
Well, I know you know one thing, and that's who your number 14 is.
Yeah, my number 14 is Animen. Because he's fucking boring. Who cares? That's my take on Animen. Who the fuck cares?
Wow. Okay.
Harsh. All right. That brings us to our number 15s. Mac, who do you have as 15?
I got Gale.
Okay.
This man relies on his magic to do everything. He gets grumpy when you ask him not to use magic in bed, and so I just have a feeling that he's like one of those guys who, like, every session he has to reach for a specific dildo or a specific cock ring, or else he's just not going to get it up. And he just, like, fixates on it all the time, and he's like, can we bring it in now? Can we bring it in now? And it's like, can we fuck without you doing that specific thing for right now? Is that okay? And then you add in that his biggest flaw is his hubris. And, like, in-game, you can tell him that there are a few things he could fix in bed, and he sulks for the next 4 weeks.
My number 15 is Saravak. And he's one of those characters who's, like, he's so singularly motivated by his villainous plan that, like, it's kind of hard to imagine him getting excited about anything that isn't, like, related to him attaining godhood. That being said, like, it is canon in the game that he is sexually experienced. And I do think that he knows what he's doing. But he's not compassionate or empathetic. And I just don't think he gets, like, he values sex or pleasure or personal intimacy enough for it to be anything other than just, like, perfunctory. Miles, your 15?
My 15 is Imoen.
Wow.
I mean, mainly because the first Baldur's Gate was very formative for me, so I have a hard time thinking of her as anything other than my little sister.
Legit.
But also because, like, when she's, like, In the first game, she's very bubbly and immature, and I think she would be fun to be around, but that she wouldn't know how to have sex. And in the second game, she's much more depressing, and I think she would know more about how to have sex, but she wouldn't want to do that because she'd be you lose the sort of the sense of like pure fun that you get with her in the first game, and so like by the time she knows what she's doing, it's less fun to fuck her.
Yeah.
Even assuming she's not your little sister, which I just naturally assume she is.
Sure.
So.
That makes sense. Bob, you're 15.
Big Field. Corgan Blood Axe.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
He's chasing you for a soft, tender fuck that he's convinced he can give you. And maybe he can. But he doesn't listen or take feedback for shit, like at least with Mazzy. Like, let me put it this way. If he was going to chase me through the woods and consensually ravish me, might be open to it. Like, regardless of his inability to listen attentively.
You'd fucking outrun him.
But what I'm gonna get is eaten out on a mound of pillows while he quotes poetry at me sometimes. Which isn't nothing. Of course I want a dangerous man to be an idiot for me. Who doesn't? But I need a little more chains and a little less candles. But let me be very clear. It is cute that he's a dweeb. And I would probably still fuck him, like in a bingo card way, not really in a yum 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 way. He is gonna let me wear the hat, though. That does move him up one slot.
Perfect. Okay, those were our 15s. We're on to our number 16s now. I will start this one. My 16 is Imoen.
My 16 is also Imoen.
Wow, okay. So yeah, I agree with you, Miles. I get a lot of like virgin who's read a lot of smut vibes off of Imoen.
Yeah.
You know, I do think she'd be down for just about anything, but like she would need a lot of direction to like do things properly. And honestly, I see her as having a lot of like unrealistic expectations about like how things are supposed to go. She does have like a lot of enthusiasm and like a very positive attitude. So like I do think that takes her a long way. Mac, what are your thoughts on Imoen?
It's very similar in that like to the point that until I replayed it recently for this session for this I was like, isn't Imoen my little sister? Why would I want to fuck her? And then I actually replayed it and was like, no, never mind. We just were raised together and she feels like your little sister.
Yeah.
She'd be a fun, playful romp with lots of teasing back and forth. And any queef that happens or odd noise or strange sound would be met with laughter, which would make the event journal more fun. But she's like your best pal. She's like the baby sister who loves and looks up to you vibes. And it's like, I feel like it would just be a one sexual night, and then you just have years of awkwardness that you both force yourself through.
Oh no.
And that's
I should be clear. I think her and Gorian's ward should absolutely fuck.
Okay.
I just don't want to fuck her.
Interesting. Who do you want to fuck? Or kind of, I guess, at number 16, Miles?
At number 16, I have Lizelle.
Uh-huh. Okay.
We're going to be fighting.
Yep.
I'm not here for Githyanki, y'all. I'm sorry. I've never been here for Githyanki. I thought they were stupid when they first came out. And she also just seems like a real fucking Githyanki supremacist bitch. So, now, does that mean she doesn't know how to have sex? Probably not. But, like, I personally do not have a shame kink, and I do not want to be told about how I would be better at this if I was a Githyanki the entire time.
Yeah, she has a very particular mask she wants you to wear.
Yeah.
And some yellow body paint. Meganbob, you're number 16?
Jan Jansen. Low-key reminds me of my father-in-law, who my husband describes as, quote, a device for turning whiskey into lies. Does that make for good sex? I don't think so. Does it make for memorable sex? I mean, this guy almost certainly. Like sometimes you go to a tourist trap because it'll be a memory. It's not like I'm fucking the giant ball of twine, but it's not like I'm fucking the giant ball of twine.
Those were our 16s, right?
Those were our 16s.
All right, well, my 17 is Jan.
All right, tell us.
Like I said, he was higher before. I feel like he was right in a median place because I feel like the toys and the inventions could be fun, but also he might be paying more attention to them than he would be to you. But then I remembered the practical jokes. And as Meganbob reminds us every time one of these characters comes into play, I don't want to be practically joked during sex.
Yeah.
and I've managed to overcome that with some characters, but this one, I feel like it would be like his favorite thing. He would just be like, hey, this fucking machine is gonna fuck you. Just kidding.
Oh boy, you are not wrong.
The king of ruined orgasms.
Yes, exactly.
Bob, who do you have at 17?
Big feels.
Nope.
Animan. Yeah, that's right, Bella. Fucking people who need therapy is like fucking for two. It is not that I cannot do it, but it's certainly not what I showed up for. He's gonna want to be the best, but also reassured, but also wants me to have a good time, but also can't reveal the vulnerabilities he has. It's like fucking a puppet that he's operating. Not that I don't want to fuck a puppet. The Muppets episode is very clear on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But this puppet wants to tell me how great his dick is when he's so in his head that the fuck is going to be mid at best. Sorry, bud. Not everyone can be Dr. Teeth.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, Animate is definitely no Dr. Teeth.
Yeah, not even in the same universe.
I love that, like, the Muppets universally were like, they just fuck on another level.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Mac, who do you have at 17?
I've got Aerie.
Mm-mm.
She is so cute, and then I know canonically if you do marry her in-game, you can have 7 kids with her, which shows that you do fuck a lot. But I don't want to. I want to hug her. I want to snuggle her. In my head, I have zero desire to fuck this poor girl. And that means any sex we'd have would be more satisfying whatever needs she has, and then I just want to go straight back to fucking snuggling and stroking her head, and I'm not super into it.
Yeah, I also have Aerie as my 17.
Excellent.
Oh, wow.
And she's almost exactly like Imoen in that, she's effectively a virgin who has like a lot of strong internalized belief about sex and romance.
Oh, yeah.
The difference is that, like, Imoen has read a lot of smut and, like, gotten excited about it and wants to try it out. Aerie, though, has, like, heard a lot about what sex and romance are supposed to be like, but hasn't actually, like, had a serious internal discussion about whether any of that stuff is an accurate reflection of what she wants to do or, like, what she's into. So if you just, like, go off of, what she tells you that she wants, both of you are going to realize after the fact that she was just saying what she thought she was supposed to say, and neither of you are going to have a good time.
Yeah, no, legit.
There's a good enthusiastic lover inside Aerie, but, like, it's going to take a lot of patience and empathy and intuition to get her to that point.
I will jump in because my 18 is Aerie.
Excellent.
And this is a big feels for me, actually. And this is a big feels for me because, for one reason and one reason only. She should not have been a romance option in the game.
I'm fucking with you.
And the fact that she is like actually really weird and kind of sick. Look, Bob just said that, like, they don't, Bob had some thoughts just now about fucking people who need therapy. I only want to fuck people who need therapy. But needing therapy is not the same thing as being so thoroughly traumatized as a child that it makes me want to cry every time I reread her origin story. I have no desire. This person does not need sex. No. She needs a hug forever. Like, it's unbelievable to me.
You just need to put your arms around her and protect her.
It boggles my mind that somebody thought of that backstory was like, yeah, the player should be able to romance. What are you doing? Leave her alone.
Narratively, I agree.
Sexually, you do not.
I
guess we'll see.
Yeah.
You're the only person who hasn't ranked her yet.
The only reason she's not lower is because everybody else is so much worse.
All right.
Than I have below her.
We will get to that for sure. Bob, who do you have at 18?
John Arenicus.
Wow.
This is a weird thing to say, but the thing that makes it less interesting is that this guy's a workaholic.
Legit.
I think even the sex is going to be about his goals and, like, not in a super hot way. I think he's going to be mechanical. I think he's going to be indifferent. Now, if he was intentionally fucking me in a way that was indifferent to me, that could be hot. There is, look, put on your scholar hats now. There is a fine distinction between being treated as a living sex doll and being treated as a fleshlight. the more you know.
Bob, I'm going to spend the rest of my life parsing that sentence.
Dan's gonna go become a monk.
Yeah.
Just the sentence written down.
I'm just going to be
staring
sitting
at it.
cross-legged on a mountaintop, just repeating that sentence to me over and over, trying to dig deeper into the truths therein. Mac, who do you have as number 18?
I got Bodhi. You know in porn how they film things in awkward positions solely to get the better shots to titillate the audience?
Yeah.
That's boning Bodhi for me.
Oh,
I feel like everything is for the aesthetic and not for how it feels. Because even in, like, the mods that were made for BG2, the mods where you can actually, like, even see her portraits and, like, invite her to do stuff with you, she is always the most aesthetic fucking vampire that exists. And so, when you'd fuck her, it wouldn't be pleasant or even fun, but you'd need to pretend it was. Or else she'd get pissed. And the whole thing would just end anyway. And it's like, what's the point of working that hard for something that is at best mediocre?
Interesting.
Sure.
Interesting. All right. My number 18 is Corgan. So I think if you can get on Corgan's level, like if you can bully him
Like
right
on your
back.
knees or like... What?
I mean, probably wouldn't hurt, but no, what I was talking about specifically is like you become a bully to him, right?
Oh.
Like you insult him twice for every one time he insults you. Like you're going to get his engine running red hot. If you can match his meanness with your own like brand of meanness, he's going to see sex with you as a fight. And combat is one thing that he revels in and like throws himself into.
Oh, man, don't bring up angry masturbation. Bob's gonna have to put him on fire.
That's kind of why I was surprised to see him as low as he was on
I know.
Bob's
No,
list.
there's something there for now.
Yeah.
You know, you're bringing me.
Yeah, no, like you're gonna end up with bruises afterwards, but like it's gonna be a good time. Now, all of that said, again, this is kind of what I was talking about with Halson. I am not that person, right? Like, I think my experience with Corgan would probably be embarrassing, demoralizing, and disappointing. I wouldn't respond well to his ribbing, and I wouldn't feel good about insulting him back. So, like, I don't think either of us would get what we wanted from the experience, at least, you know, not on the first attempt. Maybe I could, like, kind of figure out his deal and, like, you know, get on his level later. But, you know, so I'm not ruling out the possibility of a return visit once I've gotten to know him better and probably, like, have a lot of dwarven whiskey on hand for the occasion. Let's move on to our number 19s. I'll start this one off. My number 19 is Orenicus. Find the subbiest sub who ever subbed, who's down for the most dubious con available, who is willing to go along with whatever their dom demands, no matter how painful or humiliating, and you have found the ideal sexual partner for John Orenicus. I can sub when the need calls for it, and I can appreciate the appeal of a strong dom who knows what they're doing, but Orenicus goes too far for me. I think he goes too far for most people, to be quite honest. There's an audience out there who will be into what he has to offer. I just don't happen to be among that audience. Meganbob, who do you have at 19?
Airy. I'm gonna be freaking out the whole time.
Yeah.
I think she can't do casual sex, and I am already having panic attacks about the intensity of this relationship. I bet she approaches sex with joy, yada, yada, yada. But let's be real, I'm going to be on way too much Xanax to notice.
Mac, who do you have at number 19?
Controversial. Minsk.
Wow.
I love Minsk. I love him as a character. I want him in my party. I want to pet Boo, and I want to give Boo all the little kisses. I don't feel right fucking Minsk. I feel like, at best, it would be him getting horny and just needing to do something to get rid of it. And that's fine. It's got its place. But I think he'd rather just be loving his space hamster and protecting his friends, specifically his witch. Yeah. And he's got other priorities. It's fine. We can just be buds and go out and fuck. I can fuck other people and he can protect me as I do it. But no fucking.
I like that that's what sex with Minsk is. Yeah. You fuck someone else and he protects you.
That's it.
That sounds pretty good. Okay, Miles, you're number 19.
My number 19 is Edwin. I I mean, obviously, fuck Edwin, like, he's a piece of shit. That's not a deal breaker. Like, as think we've proven over the course of this podcast, there are plenty of pieces of shit who know how to fuck. Red wizards are not among them. Red wizards are Faerun's example. Like, they are incel nerd virgins, is what red wizards are. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they're mean to everybody because of it. It would be like fucking Tony Khan, for those of you who get that reference. So yeah, no, go away.
All right, that brings us down to our number 20s.
I would like to go first. My number 20 is Edwin.
Okay.
My number 20 is also Edwin.
My number 20 is also Edwin.
Edwin party at number 20.
Accord. Mac, you said it first. You go ahead.
Edwin's an asshole, and I think my list will prove that I am all for assholes. But, like, there are some assholes who are great at fucking. And then there are assholes like Edwin who shove it in while you're dry, pump a few times, and then they're done. They're satisfied. And he's telling you how everyone tells him how great he is, and how lucky you are to be so close to him, and you should feel honored that he's chosen to fuck you. And meanwhile, you're left with some gooey, soon-to-be-crust bedsheets, a sore feeling, and zero pleasant feelings.
Wow.
Okay.
Rough.
Mac, I'm with you. I love an asshole. I love an asshole.
We named an episode of our show, Bob Loves an Asshole.
No, I do. Look, but not this asshole.
No.
He's going to be selfish in bed in the most boring way possible. I truly do not think he claims he's a fucking hedonist. He's not a real hedonist. He's a fucking poser hedonist. A real hedonist can get, like, high off of other people getting something. Like, no, not this guy. Boo. He's going to owe me a sandwich to make up for the calories I wasted on this.
My number 20, also Edwin. But for me, this is a big feels.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wow.
So, under normal circumstances, I'd be perfectly happy writing this guy off as a lazy, toxic, chauvinistic waste of space who expects to be serviced and doesn't give two shits about the pleasure of his partner. And by and large, I think that that's still largely the experience that you're going to get, as has been enumerated by all of my esteemed co-hosts thus far. But there is a part in Baldur's Gate 2 when Edwin gets turned into a female body for an extended period of time.
Ooh.
And has to experience life as Edwina.
Yeah.
And during this period, he largely feels like embarrassed and uncomfortable in this form. But you do see these little glimmers where, like, the experience is kind of starting to change his perspective on things.
Oh.
And afterwards, he's still an asshole. But you get the sense that he's a deeper asshole.
That's why he's 20 and not 21?
Yeah. He's a more interesting asshole. And I think there's a very small but non-zero chance that you might be able to engage in, like, some kind of interesting gender and kink stuff with him after this experience that he's gone through. And but Miles apparently loves Edwin so much. Who did you put as number 20 instead?
I put Corgan as number 20.
Okay.
I'm just I think he's into like weird shit like that involves like pain and like blood play, and that's fine for other people.
How do you look over at me?
You're in the room. I'm not saying he is bad at sex. I'm not saying dwarves are bad at sex. We all know how I feel about Flint Fireforge. But in this case, there's nothing there at all whatsoever that appeals to me at all.
All right. Oof. Those are some rough 20s. But now we're at it. The nadir. The number 21s. Meganbob, who was the bottom of your list?
Bodhi.
Wow.
What a tedious fuck. What a tedious, one note, nothing of a fuck. This fanfic is, she's really mean and selfish and laughs at her own quote-unquote cleverness a lot. The end. I'll be lucky if I don't fall asleep.
My number 21 is Animan. Animan is a piece of shit who knows he's a piece of shit, but is trying desperately to convince everyone else that he's Helm's gift to Faerun.
Oh, I love this take.
He can't accept or even fully acknowledge his own flaws and imperfections, and this means that any sex that isn't perfect is going to make him pout and sulk, or he's going to blame you for doing something wrong.
Go off, King.
Oh, man.
That's it. That's
I'm
it.
moving him lower right now. He's going down lower on my list.
Mac, who's your number 21?
Irenicus.
Yep.
I feel like he doesn't want to fuck in the first place, not unless he gets something out of it like a chunk of my soul. But even at his best, even if he did want to fuck, even if I did give him a chunk of my soul to fuck, he'd be the world's most toxic dom. He'd be like stomping all over, ignoring safe words. He'd be like, I cannot be caged or controlled whenever I'd say it. But it's all irrelevant because this man is so devoted to his evil works that he has no desire to fuck in the first place.
All right, Miles, you're number 21.
My number 21's the Emperor.
Wow.
I'm not trying to be racist.
After bad-mouthing Gith Yankee recently.
I'm not after bad health. No mind flares.
Okay.
Just no mind flares. I'm not. It's not because of the tentacles,
Yeah, no,
or not only because of the tentacles, but the tentacles, the telepathy, the evil. No mind flares.
Okay.
That's. I have to draw a line.
All right.
A man has to have a code.
I can see that, like, when you look at the word mind flare, that it's like, you go, should I? You know, maybe I should have boundaries.
Right. Yeah.
They said this game was pretty unforgiving to the unprepared, and they were not joking. We really took a beating in that last little round. Thankfully, I always keep a few scrolls of Revivify in my back pocket for just such an occasion, so we're back up. We're ready to go. Miles, who was your number 10?
I guess this is a big feels based on what's happened before. My number 10's John Irenicus.
Woo!
Look who loves handcuffs. All right.
So Mac and I wrote the same fanfic basically about Irenicus because my scenario for him is that you're like, hey, I know you can get a piece of my soul. You can totally. The only way so what you do is you like bring him this book, right? And you're like, you can't read it because it's in a different. It's exploding runes. You can't ever read it. But like this book says, I'm here. This book says that. For me, what you need to do is, if you want my soul, you need to make me come like a bunch of times, right? And like, you have to, so what you would do is basically like, cause he's so goal focused, right? He wants that soul. You can make him do whatever you want. Because he's the dude you dangle the carrot, he's gonna be like, rah, right? So then you do that, you just make him work his ass off till he's like panting and sweating and out of breath, and you've come like 8 times. And then you're like, just kidding, fucker, bye.
It's really fun to ruin evil people's day.
Yeah.
Yes, and this way you could ruin his day and also get well fucked and have orgasms.
And then get immediately killed by death magic in the next moment. But, that's outside the bounds of the conversation.
He's too tired.
Yeah,
I've left him too worn out.
You've used up all his spell slots before.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. Okay, Bob, you're number 10.
I mean, I guess this might be weird. Imoen?
Okay.
Like,
tell us.
It's not weird because you didn't play Baldur's Gate.
It's true. I don't see myself as the player character. For me, best case scenario, kind of a tipsy mimosa fuck Saturday morning kind of thing. All relaxed, all falling back on the bed, making out, hands everywhere. All the laughing at champagne burps. She's never gonna give me like hunger and passion, I don't think. Not quite in that way. But I think she laughs while you eat her out, and like, life is good, actually.
Yeah. Mac, you're number 10.
Animan.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I can understand everybody's feelings because I feel like day to day it would be kind of dull. It would be kind of boring. It would be guiding him through things. But I feel like every post-adventure fuck, you go out there, you fuck up some zombies or something, and then you come back to whatever inn or your tent or I don't care, in the forest, and it would be fucking epic. I feel like this man is one who would ride high anytime he does something good, and he does. Anytime he feels like he did good, and the fucking would be so intense and so good after that.
I admire your optimism. I wish I could experience it.
It's fine.
There are these like 2 poles of Animen, and I fall in between them too. I just think he's boring as sin.
Well, that's okay. I have optimism for one character that apparently very few others do, and that's Bodhi, because Bodhi's my number 10.
Whoa.
Alright.
Okay, go off.
There's a part in Baldur's Gate 2 where Bodhi, like, manages to imprison you in this, like, big sprawling dungeon, and then she, like, plays cat and mouse with you. You know, she's, like, hunting you through the dungeon. She's, like, taunting you. She attacks, and then she slips away. She, like, revels in challenging you so she can prove that she's superior to you. I think that's basically what you get with a night with Bodhi. She's going to be supremely confident and competent, and she will see sex with you as a way of proving that she has complete control over you, and that you are, like, nothing more than her plaything. Now, I do have kind of mixed feelings about this because I am weak for a femdom, but at the same time, I think she gives no shits about aftercare.
Yeah.
So, like, you gotta make sure your, like, sense of self-esteem can handle it before you get into bed with her.
I didn't know she was like a Jareth.
Oh, she's definitely a Jareth.
Fuck.
Yeah. Like, if Jareth was, like, quite a bit more sadistic. All right. That brings us up to our number 9s. Meganbob, you're number 9.
Shadowheart.
Mm-hmm.
First appearance on the list of
Yeah.
Shadowheart, who
And
apparently is in
lowest.
everyone's top 10.
That's right.
And this is how low I rank this. Do I want my pussy to be so good that someone leaves their faith behind just for another taste? Your move, Shar.
I'm going to cut it here because my number 9 is also Shadowheart.
All right.
And this is a big feels for me.
Oh.
You meet Shadowheart in a tavern over drinks. Her aloof and somewhat haughty attitude signals to you that you're not getting any action with her tonight. But the wine is good and she's a fine conversation partner, so you stick around. There's just one thing, though. Throughout the conversation, you keep catching these glimpses on her face as she looks at you, as though she's, like, mulling something over in her head. Then, toward the end of the night, you roll a natural 20 on an intuition check, and you realize that not only are you definitely getting some with her tonight, she's been trying to decide which of you will be wearing the collar and who will be holding the leash.
Oh, shit.
By the time the tavern closes and the two of you retire to your room, she's made up her mind about which end of the leash you belong on. And she has a very good sense of judgment about that.
God damn.
Mac, you're number 9.
My number 9? Will Ravengard. I'm kind of surprised I put him up this high because he's like the most vanilla character in 3. But while that's the case, I feel like he's the guy who was like, get to know you best and like know what you like and also be able to apply it. He'd do whatever he does to make sure you're left with jelly legs afterwards. And he really gets to know you during that. And he's got like that sense of duty and that heroic streak, but he can also fucking rage. He can get really pissed at something, and I feel like he'd just let loose when he needs to. And then he'd also be more restrained when he needs to. And I feel like that would change things up enough that I would be intrigued.
Miles, that just leaves you. Who do you have at number 9?
I got Saravok at number 9. Love me a villain.
Yeah.
He and Arenicus kind of in a little tier here. Saravok is... I just think it would be fun. Like, I don't really know why. I just think that... Like, I have him on the low end of the definitely fuckable because I think it would be a good time if you could make it happen and get into it. Like, I don't know. I don't really have a good explanation for why he's here. This is where he felt.
Do you also have the brat and you're like, no, there's no
Yeah.
fuck here. You just gotta just like wiggle it out of him somehow.
I just think he needs just enough therapy that is fuckable to me.
These are people Miles feels he can talk through things.
I mean, that's
exactly.
true. You see him make a face turn in Throne of Baldur.
Yeah, you
actually,
do.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can see it. All right.
People who have the redemption arc are big for me. So you
That's,
know.
oh, well, I have one character in mind for you that I think is probably going to be coming much later.
Shocking.
Yep. All right, those are our 9s. We're moving up to 8. Mac, who do you have at number 8?
I've got Shadowheart at 8. Shadowheart, she's got like both sides to her. Like your fanfic hit it just right. You have no idea whether she's going to be holding the leash or wearing the collar, and that is gorgeous. And you know that woman knows how to eat you out. It's just also the trauma. I love a trauma. I will absolutely fuck somebody who needs therapy, but I feel like it depends on when you fuck her. Like, there are points in the game where I feel like fucking her would be awesome, and there are other points where not so much. And that's what got it for me.
My number 8 is Minsk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love this for you.
I don't think he'll ever be as interested in sex as he is at, fighting evil or coming up with strange and tortured metaphors about fighting evil. But I think he could get into it in the right circumstances. Like, he's the kind of guy who, when he's interested in any activity, he throws himself into it with, like, fervor and gusto. So, like, if he's into you, he's going to be a wildly enthusiastic partner who will always be down for more, provided, he doesn't accidentally put your head through a wall after an overzealous hip thrust. But, he knows cure light wounds, so one hand washes the other. Miles, who do you have at number 8?
At number 8, I have Mazzy.
Mm-hmm.
I hear what you were saying about the seriousness. That's definitely a thing. But have I mentioned therapy? Yeah, I really like Mazzy as a character. I always have. I really in hindsight especially, I love the striving to become a paladin in a world that doesn't let halflings become paladins.
Yeah.
Because it's such bullshit.
Yeah, it really
and
is.
So I just feel like Mazzy fucks like she's fighting injustice.
Yeah.
And a fundamental injustice that she knows she can't actually change, but the important thing is fighting it. So, I don't know what that means in terms of a lay, but I'm into it.
All right.
Mood.
That's great. Bob, that leaves you. Who's your 8?
Mazzy.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm not interested inherently, but she is annoyed by Yan.
Uh-huh.
And I'm kind of annoyed by Yan.
Yeah.
I think we could do some super fun things with him in a gag.
The enemy of my sex partner.
Yeah, I mean, is this in the service of justice? I admit to being enough of a sophist that, you know what? It's probably just as hell and we're doing a Lord's work.
Yeah.
Let's not quibble about which one. Let's just agree that someone somewhere is definitely on our side about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. All right, that brings us up to our number 7s. I will start. My number 7 is Jaheira. And she's an interesting one to figure out because, she goes through such an evolution over the course of these 3 games. And I think that, fucking her is going to be very different depending on, which version of the character you draw. I'm going to evaluate her based on how she appears in Baldur's Gate 3. I think we've passed the point in her life where sex is something she, actively seeks out and is enthusiastic about. But presuming that you have gotten her to a point where she decides to take you into a back room at the Last Light Inn and starts taking off that hide armor, I think she has a good century's worth of sexual tricks up her sleeve that she is very eager to dust off and pass on to the new generation.
Oh, I totally forgot a point I was going to make about Jaheira when I brought her up at 13.
Okay.
I was just going to say, I don't really feel like I have that much in common with Khalid.
I don't know what you're implying about me, Miles. But,
I'm not implying anything about it. I'm just saying, I was like, this person, Khalid probably really liked fucking her. I don't know if she's going to be for me.
All right. Well, Miles, who is your number 7 then?
My number 7 is Shadowheart.
Mm-hmm.
Shadowheart is, as has been previously mentioned, very down for whatever. Will take on any role. I feel like she would be fun to dom. I feel like she would be fun to sub for. I feel like she'd be fun to roleplay with. I just think that, and also I have a weird thing, the memory thing, for whatever reason, I just find that very interesting. So I'm just like, yeah, let's fuck and maybe you'll get your memories back during the course of our fucking.
Certainly can't hurt.
Yeah. Shadowheart is number 7 for me.
All right. Bob, how about you? Who's your 7?
Lae'zel. Bruising someone you love is really hot, actually. Not every fuck needs to be a fight, but some fights should definitely be a fight.
Spoken like a wrestling fan.
And that leaves you, Mac. Who do you have at 7?
Viconia.
First appearance for the people who have her on the other side.
Yeah, for
The people who are
who aren't
sane,
Bob.
yes.
I love her tsundere jerk. It's not that I like you thing that she comes up with in 2. And I love how much of a bitch she is. I am a bitch lover. I love all that about her. And I love that she struggles so much with things. She doesn't totally get what other people think about her. And I feel like you're sitting there and you're scissoring, and she decides to, and you're scissoring, and I feel like this depends on what game. You're scissoring, and it's great, and she kind of threatens you and tugs on the rope and chokes you a little bit, and it's so good. And then I don't like where she is in 3, because I feel like that's when you're scissoring, and rather than tugging on the rope, she just starts stabbing you out of the blue because Char told her to. But that said, she's still at 7 for me, even with that there. She'd be incredible. Just extremely boss babe, crush you under her heel, but make sure everyone has a great time until you get to 3, and then Char says, and she does it, and it's just kind of, she already left one goddess because she didn't believe what the goddess told her to do, and it's like, I don't know, man. I think I feel like your mood changed.
Wow. You got some real complicated feelings.
Yeah, I got so many complicated
back.
feelings, but she's still a boss babe, and so she's still there for me.
Yeah, sure.
Fair enough.
All right, moving on to our number 6s. I will start. My number 6 is Karlach. And I'm presuming here the type of situation that you get in Baldur's Gate 3 if you decide to romance Karlach, which is to say that, the two of you work hard to find a way around the whole skin as hot as a furnace thing that she has going on. And in that case, there's a lot to be said about enthusiasm. And after years, if not decades, of her not being able to touch another person outside of, punching them, Karlach is going to be very enthusiastic. There's no finesse here. There's no, style or game outside of, as she herself puts it, riding you till you see stars. And you know what? I could get used to stargazing 3, maybe 4 times a night, Mac, who is your number 6?
I got big feels. The Emperor.
Yeah.
I fucking love this guy.
People are fucking weirdos.
Oh, just wait.
I know. I'm aware that he hasn't come up for anyone else yet.
I fucking love that this guy knows what I like. He's in my head. He knows, man. And I don't care if he's manipulating me. I don't care about that. If he wants to manipulate me and get to know everything about me, fucking sign me up for that dubcon, baby. I am all into it. And it's so good. This man can literally make every nerve in my body alight with pleasure. It's incredible. And I love his face tentacles. I love that he is ostensibly not human enough to understand these things, but he still gets it because of what he was before. It's all fucking tied up there. I even love, I don't care if it's fake. I fucking love his, tortured, I have to eat brains now, and it's so sad, isn't it? Fucking yeah. Everything about it's fucking great. And ostensibly, I know we can't do anything in reality because his tentacles would just melt through my skin and bone just so that he could, get to the innards and whatever. But even if it's all in my head, it's the best fucking sex of my life.
Yeah, I think psychic sex is still sex. Bob, who's your number 6?
Gale.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ. He's so beautifully, heartfeltly, yearningly feelsly. I bet he fucks like a sad freight train. It's not that sad people fuck better. I don't think that's true. But there's a reason. I mean, there's a reason, pathos has a place in the world. Not every fuck needs to be, elegiac. But when it is, there is a reason why only lovers left alive in Brokeback Mountain are so fucking hot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Miles, who do you have at 6?
I have Halcyon at 6.
Okay.
Look, I'm into the bear thing. I don't know what to tell you. I think the bear thing kind of rules. I also love how kind of casual he is about everything. He's... he doesn't have the best response, the single best response to you cheating on him with what's her name, because that's Shadowheart.
Oh, with Mizora?
Yeah. Because when you cheat on Shadowheart with her, Shadowheart's fucking, she'll come back to me and realize how good she had it. But Halcyon is just yeah, whatever. I'm fucking own you. I have a thing for nature boys, and I like druids, I like elves, I like bears. This is a good combination for me.
That's awesome, man. All right, we're in our top 5s now. Mac, who is your 5?
I'm kind of surprised she's here, but it's Mozzie.
Yeah.
Mazzie's voice alone is music to my ears.
I mean, it's Jennifer Hale.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. I love Jennifer Hale and everything she does. And in Mazzie's case, if she just talked dirty to me, I could come. It'd be magnificent. But add in the fact that she's like a fighter. She knows her body very well. She's empathetic. She can read you. So she'll know when you don't like something without you having to say a word. And she'll know when you really like something without you having to say a word. And she knows how to use her body. And she wants to be a paladin, but because of fucking 2E, she can't be. She is devoted as fuck. You know you're gonna fucking come 15 times. You know that. Going into bed with her, and I'm into it. Fucking come at me, babe.
Yeah.
The hands do not stop with laying on. Let's just put it that way.
Bob, who's your number 5?
The Emperor.
Wow.
He eats pussy like a god. He will genuinely scare you during sex because you'll never be sure that you're completely safe.
Mood.
I know. I love being prey. This is a predator. Like, maybe your throat is safe in his jaws. That heightened tension of, like, going, I'm not real sure. Ah, electric!
Miles, who's your number 5?
My number 5 is Gale. Most of the time, my opinion about wizards is that they're virgins and nerds. And they don't know how to have sex. But with Gale, that's like canonically untrue. Because there's a goddess that wanted to have sex with him. Well, it's a pretty good endorsement.
Yep.
I understand what Mac was saying about the fact that he will insist on using magic in bed. To me, that's a perk. I want him to use the magic in bed. And I want to have astral plane sex or whatever the fuck it is you do in that game with him.
Yep.
So, like, yeah, man, I can't turn down a dude who slept with a goddess, needs therapy because of it, and will take you out into space and have sex with you there. I can't. It's gotta be top 5.
You're only human, man.
Yeah.
No one's gonna blame you. Mac might blame you, but
It's fine.
We'll see.
It's fine. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. My number 5 is Astarion. And look, there's a reason that Cazador uses Astarion's sex appeal as a way of drawing in new warm bodies. Like, Astarion is sexy. He knows what he's doing. His seduction game is off the charts, but he also knows how to deliver. And, normally I'm not the romance novel connoisseur that some of my fellow hosts are, but the truth is, like, the scenes in Baldur's Gate 3 where his walls come down and he confesses that he's actually caught feelings for you, those scenes are genuinely touching and exciting. Like, this is one of those characters that you can have a lot of different types of sexual encounters with, and he's good at all of them. Those are our number 5s. Meganbob, who is your number 4?
Karlak.
Oh.
She is joyous.
Yes.
Bit of a hedonist. Loves big, loves a lot. She and I could take over the fucking world.
Literally.
I don't know that we're necessarily each other's preferred flavor, but together we could chase anything we wanted. There is no substitute in this world for someone who will yes and you, and she would yes and me straight to every orgy in Faerun. I want to be covered in fluids and making out with her, and then to ye olde Taco Bell. Neither of us wearing a bra or underwear, high-fiving while we eat chalupas.
Fuck yes.
Bob, I hope you take this as the compliment that I intend it to be.
Yes.
I think Karlak would be very into you.
I agree.
I think she would find you adorable.
Oh my god. I'm genuinely blushing.
Miles, who's your number 4?
My number 4 is Will.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall the moment I went to this character.
Yeah. You put a guy who gives up his privilege to help other people in front of me, and I'm just going to eat that up with, well, not a spoon, but other things. I disagree with you, Meganbob, that he's going to be that type of person because specifically, he's not the kind of dude who is sniffing his own farts about his do-gooding. And that's actually built in with the warlock thing, where he's got the devil patron that he's like kind of trying to escape, and he doesn't love where his power comes from. And so I think that aspect of it is in there. And as far as like, he's a gentle soft boy, but I do believe he has experience because he is fucking outlaw dude, and like those people get laid. And
True.
And I like looked in. You can be. I love you. I love how modest you are. I'm pretty sure I can rise up to Will's level. I'm pretty sure that I have the skills.
Oh, I wasn't believing that I was beneath Will's skill level.
Well,
I was just saying it takes some effort.
Right? Yeah. Well, I'll put in the effort for this guy.
All right. Well, good for you, man.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Viconia. Speaking of someone who demands some effort, she brags a lot about her sexual prowess in the second game, and first of all, I believe her, but I also don't think that like a night with her is for the faint of heart.
Fair.
No.
Literally, she mentions that one time she gave a sexual partner a heart attack. So I think there's a high ceiling to a night with Viconia, but you have to like bring a lot to the table, or both of you are going to end up disappointed. She's not for everyone. This is just like one situation where I look at who she is, I look at who I am, and I'm like, yeah, I think I could do that. I think I could keep up. She's murdered multiple previous husbands, so for dissatisfying her. So I think that there's like a legitimate level of danger to betting her that there isn't with other characters here. But even if I don't measure up, man, what a way to go!
What a way to go! With you 100% on that one.
Yep. All right, Mac, who's your 4?
Halson. I love me a big, beefy elf boy. And this guy is old. He's mentioned he's had plenty of partners. And he can fuck. I just know it. This man can fuck. Bear form, elf form. I don't think there's any restraining from him. I think he just fucks how he wants to fuck in that moment. And it's great. Like, this guy can turn into a bear. He can fucking... I don't even know, turn into a frog and use his tongue on me. I don't give a shit. This guy would fucking rule my world for however long we were together. And whenever we got bored, there'd be no pain in it. It would just be like, okay, see you later. And if we came across each other again and wanted to do it again, we'd fucking do it. And that's so hot.
There you go.
Okay.
I love that your rankings often end like a haiku.
That's beautiful. All right, folks, top 3. Here we go. We're coming down to it. Miles, you're number 3.
It's Minx, you heathens. I'm fucking surprised you came in this low for me, to be honest. Minx, I think the only reason he came in this low for me is because I'm going to need him to not have the hamster involved. If he wants to have the hamster involved, we're gonna have to have a conversation about boundaries. But Minx, and look, my next couple of picks, you might accuse me of having a thing for barbarians. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I think he brings an earnestness and an enthusiasm, and he's going to be all about having sex, and he's going to be a willing, capable, amazing partner who plus, I got 3 words for you, people. Threesome with Dinah here.
You got to catch him before Baldur's Gate 2.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But okay.
Threesome with whoever he's protecting.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very passionate defense there, and I appreciate it. My number 3 is Lae'zel.
Wow. Okay.
I think there's 2 Lae'zels you could potentially experience sexually. One is a woman who feels kind of horny and doesn't really care who helps her alleviate it. And the other is the Lae'zel who develops a deep, indescribable hunger for someone. This desire to possess and dominate another person sexually. And as Lae'zel herself points out, Githyanki warriors are trained to know their bodies completely. So either version of her is going to be good, but the version who is into you is ravenous.
Oh, yeah.
So, she says that she is as good in battle as she is in bed, and that means you're going to be broken, bruised, and defeated by the end of it. Sign me
Fuck
up.
yeah.
Mac, who is your number 3?
Saravok Anchev.
Wow.
Daddy
Nice.
Saravok can get it.
Yep.
He might be a ball spawn. He might want me dead at some point, but that man can fuck. And not only that, but that man can be a devoted fuck too. He's in love with someone, and so long as you serve his ambitions, which admittedly are become god of murder, that man will do anything for you. I can change him too. And that's the thing, I can actually do that. I can change him chaotic evil to chaotic good. Admittedly, in the Throne of Ball DLC, it's fine. It takes a fucking long time. It takes a lot of fucking effort. But I can change him, and he fucks good and is devoted no matter what? Amazing. This man would make sure I come 5 times before he even gets his rocks off, and then he's going to try and become the new Lord of Murder, and I can get with it and support him in that.
That's what a good partner does. I'm very proud of you.
That's beautiful.
All right. Bob, you're number 3.
Jaheira. We fuck in the woods. I am eating her out on a fallen log. Everything smells like damp, growth, and decay. She grabs my hair, throws her head back, and growls like an animal. She is gonna be into primal. I'm into primal. I'm into this whole thing.
As fuck.
She is one with nature. I am one with her pussy.
All right, people. Top 2. Miles, you're number 2.
My number 2 is Karlach.
Yeah. Right?
Everything I said about Minx, but like more so. And without the hamster.
Makes a big difference, doesn't it?
I've gone on the record at least twice on this show as how much I do not enjoy the cold sex. The hot sex, though. The hot sex is where it's at. You want somebody who is like super enthusiastic, who has not, as previously mentioned, has not been touched like intimately in a while and is going to be very responsive. And then like you also throw in like the element of like kind of like spicy danger. It's like, oh, she's got the ticking time bomb in her chest or whatever. Like, oh. I swear, the second I saw her in like the game, I was like, oh, this one right here.
Right.
This is my choice.
I had the same reaction, is what I will say. So I don't blame you. Mac, you're number 2.
Jaheira.
Yeah.
Jaheira is a total cougar babe. Totally fucking there. Like, you sometimes go to fuck her, and it's this wild feral affair where she's shoving you down and having her way with you and bossing you around as you go down on her, before she just flips you over and makes you come 12 times until you're a quivering pile of fucking jelly. And then there's the times where she's just there because she's mad and needs to get that tension out and is just using you for herself. And I'm not seeing any downsides. Zero downsides. She's a total babe. She canonically fucks. She knows what she's about. And also, we can do it without having to become God of Murder. Fuck yeah.
Always a perk.
Yep. Okay, Bob, you're number 2.
Halson. If you think that I don't want to know what it's like to have a man in animal form, his bare snout snuffling at my pussy, I feel like you haven't been listening to the show at all.
Yeah, my only surprise is that he's not number 1.
Let me give you all that honey, baby.
Oh, boy. My number 2 is the Emperor.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
This guy may not be as horny on main as Karlach is, but he's been touch-starved even longer than she has. He's not going to be the most, like, confident lover, but the options he brings to the table are staggering.
Oh, man.
Like, levitating sex, connecting your minds together so you experience the same pleasures at the same time, being able to make either of you look the way you want with illusions, and it's all with the sense of connecting with someone who's been intensely lonely for a long, long time. It's going to take some time for you to get to the point where this happens, but it's going to be so amazingly worth it. All right, everyone.
Here we go.
Zenith time. Number 1. Meganbob, start us off.
Astarion. You just can't, you cannot put a price on sex with someone who you can be an absolute, like, selfish, decadent, depraved asshole with. This is the Q phenomenon. There is something intoxicating about fucking on a figurative throne. When you are with someone, you can go there. When you can go there, when you can be awash with the preening self-satisfaction of thinking you are both the absolute best. And for anyone going, that sounds like too much, let me just say, you deserve to feel overwhelmed with your own glory and the glory of your partners during sex. Like, you deserve to have sex that when you leave the bedroom, you go, God is jealous of what we just did. Get high on yourselves and go mad, darlings.
Well,
Beautiful.
speaking of gods being mad or jealous, my number 1 is Gale.
Ooh.
And it's a big feels. I don't think he's the best romantic partner in Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I don't know, when I see some of those romantic scenes, like, he has a few kind of red flags for me.
Agreed.
But I think his sexual prowess is pretty much beyond reproach at this point.
Yeah.
Miles, you covered a lot of it. Like, he uses the weave to connect himself to his partner and then do, like, that astral projection sex.
Man.
Like, you got the illusion magic to produce new locations and sensations for lovemaking. Mac, I see what you're saying about him using magic as a crutch.
It's legit.
But at the same time, that crutch allows him to do things that no one else even comes close to. And he also, like, on a personal level, he has that quiet, fearful desperation at, like, knowing that your time is coming to an end. And that makes him, like, tentative at first, but then he just, like, throws himself into any meaningful relationship that he can while there's still time left. All I'm saying, the goddess Mystra has options.
Right?
She didn't choose Lae'zel. She didn't choose the Emperor. She chose Gale for what we are led to believe was an extended period of time. And that's a good enough cosign for me.
With you.
All right, Miles, you're number 1.
I also have big feels about mine because of fucking Viconia. What's wrong with you people?
All right, tell us how you're going to fix her.
I mean, here's the thing, Bob. I don't need to tell you that, because if you romance Viconia long enough and well enough in the game, you do fix her. As far as I know, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Viconia is the only character in the Baldur's Gate series whose alignment you can shift by romancing them.
Saravok
Through romance, yes.
Through romance.
Of romance.
Yeah, because you can't romance Saravok.
You can't romance Saravok.
Yeah.
You can change her fundamental worldview by fucking her.
That's true.
And in the meantime, she's fucking you. And I'm gonna tell you something. They ain't never made a fantasy race hotter than the Drow, and they ain't never made a Drow hotter than a Drow who's abandoned the Underdark. I don't care what the reason is. That's just like, the baseline. The baseline is above almost everybody else in, like, fantasy. And then, like, oh, she's gonna be on top all the time. Cool. Great. Fantastic. Break it off inside you. I don't even care. We got magic. We can bring people back from the dead. We can sure as shit regrow my dick. Alright?
That's the benefit of being with a cleric,
Yes!
That's a healing magic.
That is the benefit of being with a cleric.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You got a little barbarian yourself there.
I like the barbarians,
Yeah.
or I like being the barbarian.
Yeah. All right, Mac, take us home. You are number 1.
Lae'zel, baby. I hated her when I first got her. Then I decided I'm going to play a character that romances just to see how this fucking goes. And holy shit, my hips are bruised. My fucking face is bruised. My fingers are half broken. But goddamn if I am not hydrated and in my lane. She is such a boss, babe. She is fucking around. And then once she starts to fall for you, she becomes like this sensitive, kind of shy, and you're making her for the first time the sub. And she is shy and she is awkward, but she still has a good time with it. And you're giving her these pleasures. She knows her body, but she has never ever lost control for a little moment, and you're giving her to that. You know that all the fucking is great, and it's constant, and she's like fucking you and leaning into your ear and saying that her smell only smells you, and it's so good.
Yeah. Well, I've gone ahead and passed our data on to the scribes of Candlekeep. They are hard at work collating the numbers now. So while their quill pens move frantically, let's take a second and unpack some stuff.
Dan, tell me all about how the Emperor is going to be awkward with you. I'm very curious. What does this look like? Because I am a sucker for an awkward villain.
Yeah, so here's the thing, Bob. I told you before, I thought I had your number 1 picked out because I thought it was going to be the Emperor.
Okay.
The Emperor, when he tries to romance you, is the most awkward thing on the planet.
Oh, fuck! What did I do? Shit!
The thing is, Bob, he knows he's a monster. He knows what he is, and he's ashamed of it.
Yes!
Like, But he's still like
Well, good
wants.
because he should be.
Because of people like Miles. He explicitly says that in game. There was a guy named Miles Schneiderman who was very mean to him one time.
Wait, do I get royalties for this game?
I mean, you're gonna have to talk to Larian about it, man.
Damn it.
But
It won't return my calls.
he sits next to you real awkward, and he's just talking about like how lonely he's been.
Oh my god.
And how like how rare it is for him to find someone that he connects with. And there's just this pregnant silence where his little tentacle fingers are like moving around, and you're just like, oh, you dumb idiot.
Oh my god, that's the best.
Yeah.
Fuck,
It's so good.
Fuck, I didn't see that part. I
Yeah.
saw him like romancing somebody who was like way more able to like be on his level. I think he was romancing. It looked like a tiefling.
I mean, it's probably the player character.
Okay, but
Yeah.
he seemed like this must have been later in it because he seemed very confident.
Yeah.
Fuck, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch
Oh
that.
man, yeah. So that's what it is. It's like it's that sense of
Shit.
like
oh no.
you've been lonely for so long, and you're so ashamed of who you are, and you feel like you can't even show your face in like polite society.
I mean, in some ways, probably can't, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But you're the one, you know?
Oh my
you're the one who
God.
reaches out and is like, no, but to me, you're beautiful.
Oh my god.
And also, we should have weird mind sex while we
Oh.
float off the floor. You
Oh
know?
my God.
It's that
All
sort
right.
of thing. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well,
So, asked and answered.
thank you.
All right, not to keep attacking Bob,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but Bob,
Yeah.
I was so disappointed. I was sure you were gonna be there with me on Viconia, and I don't understand. She's basically a Rhea Ripley, Bob.
There's not nothing about Viconia. It's just like what I get from Viconia, and this is purely like the stuff I have seen, is that she is primarily me. Well, okay, so I was looking at stuff in 3, and I apologize for that. But she seemed like she was mean, and it was very sexy and hot that she was mean. And like, yes, a la Rhea Ripley, I would call her mommy.
Yes, as would I.
But it didn't seem like I was gonna ever get her. It didn't feel like that was available, and so I was sort of like, it's not that this is a performance, but it's not a performance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, this is the role, and so I was kind of like, well, but I then I'm like, you're putting on the performance, and I don't necessarily want just that. Like, I mean, I'm selfish. Like, I want a chunk. I'm like the emperor or whoever it is. Who's the one who wants a chunk of soul already?
Oh, Irenicus.
Irenicus.
Yeah. I'm a real Irenicus about it. Like, give me a chunk of your fucking soul. And like, I was thinking about Viconia and going, I don't know that I can work hard enough to get a chunk of soul from her.
Fair.
And if I did get a chunk of soul from her, my thought is immediately, like, what I'm going to discover is she actually wants to be a sub. Like, often that's the story. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where
Sure.
it's like the strong lady now that she's understood, wants to be on the bottom.
Right.
And I'm like, that's not what there's nothing there for me. If like if I pursue this, it's like, I want her to be more herself. And
I will say, as a person who absolutely loves Baldur's Gate 3 and thinks it's the best game in the series, I do think that they made a couple of missteps on handling some of the characters from the first 2 games. And Viconia, I think, is the one that they mishandled the worst, because I think
Agreed.
they flattened out her character quite a bit.
Oh, that's a shame.
Whereas, like, I'm with you, Miles. I always romance Viconia in Baldur's Gate 2 because it's like the best storyline that you get with her. But yeah, like they make her a lot flatter in Baldur's Gate 3 because she's like she has basically just like a cameo appearance in that game.
I was not really paying much attention. I wasn't using her appearance in 3 that much to rank her because she has so much more to do with.
Yeah, and I think that really speaks to the difference in the way that you, Miles, and you, Bob, ranked her, because, like, you know, I think if you look at her in Baldur's Gate 2, she's way more appealing than she is in Baldur's Gate 3.
Agreed.
okay.
Yeah. Mac, you mentioned, like, your quality of encounter with Shadowheart would vary greatly depending on, like, when you fucked
Yes.
her. I'm curious, when do you feel like is the best time? Like, when's
Best
your
time.
ideal spot?
I feel like the ideal spot. I feel like it's before you go to take on Viconia. After she's become like, in my world, she's renowned Shar and joined the Selenite camp again. And I feel like it's after she's come to that and she's started to like feel true to herself, but before you go and find out about her memory fuckery.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is the top of fucking her. Because I feel like at that point, she is both more vulnerable and open to, like, touching sex stuff, but she's also not, like...
touching sex
stuff. I know, very,
That's
very
great.
straightforward. But she's also not to the point where she's dealing with all that pent-up bitterness yet. She's still got it inside of her, and that adds to the fuckery.
Yeah, sure. And plus, you know, the white hair and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. The white hair is hot
nothing.
as fuck.
I was kind of curious. Whenever I said that Corgan was at 15, I got a response, and I was like, did everybody think I was going to rank him super high?
I kind of did.
I thought you were going to rank him
he's
at least higher than that.
Yeah, he's a cranky dwarf. Like
I super feel it, but it was just that he was all poetry. Like, that's kind of how he kept, like, approaching Mazzy.
Oh, I see.
And so I was kind of like,
I actually thought you were going to rank him lower, because I thought that the only romantic inclination he even began to show was not your style.
Yeah, it's not that he couldn't, like, if he felt nothing for you, he could probably, like, do a real, like, dwarf fuck, but it's clear that, like, the way he lovingly fucks is so soft. It seems like, but maybe it's not. Maybe he just says that, but it's not. Maybe his version, maybe the dwarf version of soft, like, you know, loving sexuality is actually incredibly crazy, but I don't know.
It makes me wonder if that's because he's specifically trying to romance Mazzy, who presents herself as, like, a paladin, right? So, like, she presents herself as this, you know, this, like, knight. And so he's like, well, if I want to have a chance with her, I need to, like, approach her with this, like, courtly love shit, you know? It makes me wonder if that's the way that he... Because that doesn't strike me as the sort of way that he would approach everyone.
Okay. Because I definitely... I mean, I was like, oh, he's a nasty motherfucker. Like, he's a crusty fuck.
He's very crusty.
And I was like, ooh, crust on him. But then I saw the poetry and I was like...
Yeah.
Give me back more crust.
Yeah. I think you could get the crust out of him.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually feel like once you, like, if he approached you with poetry and it was clear that you weren't into it, he would be like, oh, thank God.
fuck.
You know, and he'd be just like, all right, listen, let's just.
Like, here's some nasty dwarf shit I got.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me teach you how to say the worst thing in Dwarvish one could ever say.
Yeah, totally.
More on the fun side rather than completely unpacking, but Bob?
Yes.
What would you and Karlak get at Taco Bell?
I always get at least one chalupa. Now, okay, so it's very personal. It's a very personal story. But I went to Taco Bell with Neil, and they wouldn't sell me a fucking breakfast crunch wrap after 11 a.m. And
I hope someone was arrested.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Jack in the Box knows what the fuck is up because they will do breakfast any time of the goddamn day. Like, the clock means nothing to them. But Taco Bell's like, no, we obey God. And I'm like, you cowards. Because what I want, what I crave, and I bet the eggs are really bad, but I really want the breakfast crunch wrap with the sausage inside of it. But the other thing I would get definitely is the black bean crunch wrap thing. I think that Karlak gets a bunch of tacos, like the weirdest tacos.
Like Doritos Locos.
The ones, yeah. And, like, then brings her own special hot sauce, like death hot sauce with her. I think she puts them in a line as though she's doing cocaine. Douses them in all the hot sauce. And then, like, there's no, you know what? She doesn't need any sour cream. Okay. And then, like, I, as her, like, bae, cheer her on as she, like, goes 1 down, 2 down, 3 down. I'm just like, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, you can do it, babe. Like, and then, like, we fuck again, and it's disgusting.
Excellent.
Yeah.
This is canon in my head now.
Yeah. Now, she does have to wash her hands unbelievably.
Oh, not for me. Not for me.
You're like, yeah, get that hot
Taco
sauce on my dick. Jesus. No, I'm sorry.
I've had jalapeno hand sex.
Oh, no.
And you're going back for seconds, huh? All right.
Well, Look, don't judge me.
I mean, I guess that just speaks to the depth of your lust for Karlach, you know?
And my lust for capsaicin.
Yeah, I guess so.
I cannot. No, I would be terrified, but like... Well, okay, then it could be showers. No, but I want it to be greasy and covered in Taco Bell. No, she's just going to have to wash her. That's just how that's going to have to go. Sorry, I was playing out my options in real
I mean,
time.
there's no reason
No,
you
this is
can't have the
important.
greasy sex and then shower sex after.
Yeah, exactly. That's right, because she doesn't have a dick.
No.
Fuck. Oh my god, it could do anything. Holy shit. Maybe we'll fuck in the car after. No, because then the Taco Bell would get cold. That's not practical.
I mean, she could just like hold it in her hands for a few seconds and then it'd
Oh
be
my
back
god.
to ideal temperature.
Oh my god. She's a living toaster oven.
She would just like stick the chalupa between her boobs, like right up against that infernal heart, and it would come out nice and crispy again.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh my god.
And
It's
then
like,
you have crumbs all over her boobs. You can
yeah. No, exactly. I'm like, I am such a little gremlin about this. I have one important question.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for the people who like genuinely played these games.
Mhm.
You're with somebody already. You're with your bae, whichever one of them is your bae.
Okay, so like the in-game romance option.
Yeah, the one
whatever.
that you're
Okay.
like, yes,
Okay,
forever.
Sure.
You're gonna have a threesome. Who do you invite as to be your unicorn?
Oh, I mean, I can answer this immediately because
Dan is
I've thought about this.
because I'm outraged that it's not an option in Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
Okay, Larian, if you're listening,
They're not.
I need you to make it possible for me to romance Karlach and Shadowheart at the same time. Please, I am begging you. Anything.
Pint of blood.
Yes.
Willingly offered. Anything it takes.
Yes. What you
Soul
listen.
chunk.
You name your price. You let me know what you need from me, and I will make it happen. Beyond that, there's a potion vendor in Baldur's Gate 3. She's a drow. You meet her in Act 2 and then later in Act 3, and she can get it.
Does she have a name?
Probably, but I don't remember what it is.
Okay.
She's just a drow with a really cool haircut, and she also is like she also kind of wants your blood, which is a different thing. But
That's a promising.
yeah, it's good. It's good stuff.
Nice. All right, Miles.
Oh, just get me in a I'll be the meat in a Viconia minx sandwich.
Whoa.
You won't survive, my friend.
I don't fucking care. I'll die happy.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like Minsk and Viconia could go forever.
Yeah.
You'd have to like tag in and out. You'd be like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna go get to the Taco
Yeah,
Bell.
but
I'll be back.
I'll feed the hamster.
That's right.
Yeah,
Y'all
you're
keep
like,
going.
I don't need to be involved all the time. Y'all, it's a perpetual motion machine.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Mac.
I've got two options.
Okay.
Lizelle, and I
Yes.
want her to be with me and hate fucking Shadowheart. They
Wow.
hate each other, and I
Wow.
am fucking about that, man. Hate each other and fuck me at the same time. Bring it the fuck on.
You want to be the filling in the hate
I want to
sandwich.
be filling in the hate sandwich. I want them to hate
I
fucking
get
everyone
this.
there.
Like you are the sheet that they are
Yeah,
fucking between.
exactly.
Oh man, do you know what'd be
Fucking
fun?
yeah.
What?
What?
Halsin and Jahira.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Great threesome.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You're like oh my god, you're like covered in sap. And you're like, and sap doesn't wash off easy if you've ever touched a fucking tree. Oh my god.
Oh, man.
It doesn't matter how much you try, you look disheveled for a week.
Oh yeah.
Mac, you had another
Oh
one,
right. I was also thinking Halcyon and the Emperor.
Wait.
Interesting.
Okay, what's
Okay,
your
go
take
for it.
on this?
I mostly just want like the weird psychic sex with a bear. That's what I want.
You just like the knobs turned all the way up.
Just turn all the
Yeah.
knobs to 11 and let me free.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Whenever you're like, well, I could have like sushi and tacos.
Yeah.
I could put the sushi inside the tacos.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? It's possible.
It's possible. Will I like it?
Who's
I don't
gonna
know,
stop
but I
me?
need to try it.
That's beautiful. You are an innovator, I have
Thank
to say.
you.
You're really pushing the boundaries.
I feel like Will and Animan would be a good hate fuck threesome.
Oh yeah.
Will and Animan.
I
Yeah.
can see it.
They would fucking hate each other.
They would, because they both come from privileged backgrounds, but
Yeah.
they're approaching it from totally different
Yeah.
perspectives. Oh, Will would think that Animan's a piece of shit. He would be 100% right.
If you want the hate fuck thing, that's where I would
Yeah,
do.
for sure.
We're very cool and smart.
Yeah, for sure.
Another
This is
good
like-
hate fuck would probably be Gortash and Karlach.
Oh,
I'd be
I mean, they would legitimately murder
Yeah.
each other. Like, no
And
joke.
I could just be in between them as they murder each other, getting fucking railed.
Covered in blood.
Yeah.
There's 2 corpses in the room afterward, and you walk out like, what a great
Yeah,
night.
exactly.
Yep.
That's beautiful. I love this for you.
All right. Well, I've just been handed a scroll from the Candlekeep Scribes with the final results of this episode on it. So here we go. Final rankings.
Let's get it.
At number 21, would anyone like to take a wild fucking guess?
It's Edwin.
It is Edwin.
Oh.
Edwin is number 21.
And Area's 20.
That's correct.
Yep.
Area is 20. At number 19, we have John Aranicus.
That was me. I dragged him up from the depths there.
That's true. Yeah, it was 21, 19, 18, 10. So yeah, really saved him there. But not by a lot. Number 18, we have Corgan Bloodaxe. Number 17, we have Animan. Way too high.
Yeah,
Way too high.
I was like,
I
I am
pulled him
so
up.
sorry. I should have saved Corgan from this indignity.
If I could have kept my attention on him longer, I would have ranked him lower.
Yeah. Number 16 is Bodhi, which like having a vampire femdom at number 16 on this list, that says something about the list. I'm not sure what. We'll see.
It says something about her characterization in Baldur's Gate
I mean,
2.
that's probably fair. Number 15, we have Jan Janssen.
Sure.
Number 14, we have Imoen. Number 13 is Minsk. I'm sorry, Miles.
That was
You did
me.
what you could for him.
I'm sorry.
That's
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, that was Mac. Number 12, we have Will, doing very well for
Okay.
himself. Number 11, we have Saravok.
So is he the median?
Saravok is our median. What a weird list. What a weird list we have.
Saravok is the median Baldur's
Yeah,
Gate.
he's about average, you know.
Yeah. No, he
Oh, did
really
I?
hits that sweet spot in between, like, evil asshole fuck and maybe I can fix it.
Yeah.
fuck.
Did I call him at 11?
You did. You
Yeah,
called
you
him at
totally
11.
did.
Yeah, you were the only one who ranked him at 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done. Number 10, we have the Emperor,
Aww.
I dragged him
which
down.
that was 100% Miles.
Yeah.
Number 9, we have a tie between Mazzy and Shadowheart.
Wow.
Wow.
That would be a
That's-
threesome.
What a pair they would
Yeah.
be. Man, oh man. Yeah, sign me up for
I'd
that.
be there.
Number 7, I think disappointing the internet as a whole is Astarion.
Aw, boo.
Yeah, boy,
Me and Miles.
Tumblr's going to be very mad at us for that one.
Yeah. I might just not. I might need to play him this
yeah.
stuff for him.
Yeah. Number 6 is another tie between Gale and Lae'zel. I mean, I would say that it's a hate fuck, but I think any fuck involving Lae'zel is a hate fuck.
Honestly,
So,
like I'm not into it, you know?
yeah, for sure. Number 4 is Viconia.
That's that's fine.
Number 3 is a tie between Jaheira and Halsin.
Oh my god.
Yes. Yes.
There it is. That one we were looking for. And number 1 is everyone's favorite flaming cinnamon
Oh,
roll,
yeah.
Karlach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does deserve
She
it.
deserves it.
She absolutely does.
Hey Dan.
Yeah.
Who's the lowest character on the combined list from Baldur's Gate 3?
Ooh, that's a good question. Lowest character from Baldur's Gate 3 is Will. At number 12.
Yeah. Okay. Let's
Yeah.
talk about it in the next segment.
Yeah, let's give our final boner rankings of the Baldur's Gate trilogy on a scale from 1 to 10 boners.
I'll go first if you want, because
Yeah.
I thought about this.
Go for it.
I'm giving it a 5,
Okay.
and Baldur's Gate should be very thankful that Baldur's Gate 3 is as fuckable as it is. Because I hadn't really thought much about this when we first put this property on the list, and I signed up for it because that was pre-Baldur's Gate 3. But man, oh man, the characters of the Baldur's Gate series are a bunch of nothing until number 3.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Viconia and Minsk are doing all the heavy lifting for me, and I guess Jaheira too. But like, that's about it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for 3, it would be 2 boners.
Yeah.
If, at best. I'm giving it 5.
All right.
And I'm saying it's lucky to get there.
All right. That's very, very soundly reasoned, Miles.
Very solid reason. I would say probably a 6, and only because I agree with Miles' reasoning. I will say that number 3 brings the fuckability so much
Yes.
that it inches it up above just slightly above the median.
I think that's fair, actually, because, like, it really does, like, it brings the fuckability harder than maybe any video game has that's been, like you said in the intro, Dan, rated AAA.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at my list. I think my no starts at Airy, which is 17. Wow. But then there's like there's a lot of kind of like maybe kind of gray area.
Yeah.
Up until about my 10, which is Bodhi. Like, Bodhi is a yes. I would say Jan Jansen through Imoen is a maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? I'm gonna give this an 8. Like, there's a lot of, you know, kind of grayish middle ground here, but like, my no's are quite short, and my yeses tend to be quite strong. So I feel like that tends to swing it more toward the positive end for me.
There are fewer of the yeses, but the yeses are awesome.
I have 10 very solid yeses. But yeah, you're right. They're very, very strong.
Yeah, I have like 8 or 9 at best. Like Renicus is at 10 for me, and I had to invent a very specific fan.
Yeah, you had to really gaslight that man.
Yeah.
All right, Bob.
I think probably a 7.
Okay.
Because I'm not excited about quite as many of the characters, but the excitement level is so high for quite a lot of them.
Yeah.
And I feel like, that evens out to a 7. I think it's a mild 7 or an overwhelming 6, and so 7 is where I've landed.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's 7, 8.
That gives us an average ranking of 6.5 boners for Baldur's Gate.
I think that's about
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right. Well, then that just leaves us with the question, what did we all learn here today?
I learned I need to get Neil to play Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, you do.
Let
So you
me
can watch him
hang
play.
out on the couch, and I'll say I'm watching, but I'll probably fall asleep because it'll be late at night, but I hopefully will remember some of it.
Yeah, that's how you play video games, right? Playing video games. Falling asleep in front of your spouse playing the video game?
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
This is how Bob plays video
Yeah,
games.
for sure. Oh, well, I guess I learned that Bella wants to be part of this podcast,
Hi,
huh?
Bella.
Come here, baby. Come here.
Oh, good girl.
Yeah, there you go. Come here. You know, in putting together my list, I have found that there's a very different process in ranking characters who you have, like, very clear evidence as to how they fuck against characters that you have to make a lot of assumptions about.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think this was brought up when you guys did the Dragon Age episode. Like, you know, that series is very different from a lot of other series to rank because, like, you do get to romance so many of them, and so you get to see how a lot of them are. And in the case of Baldur's Gate, you know, we're dealing with characters who, despite the fact that they're coming from the same trilogy, we still have to, like, evaluate on very different terms because, like, the characters in Baldur's Gate 3, all of them, you get to see a lot of, like, the romance and sex stuff with, whereas, like, a lot of the ones from 1 and 2, you just kind of have to infer. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I tried to evaluate them as kind of as fairly and objectively as I could and, like, fill in the blanks for the ones with 1 and 2 where I could, but, you know, I think that it really showed the difference in trying to rank characters for this show when the data sets that you're getting are very different.
Yeah.
Which is not something we usually have to deal with. Usually it's a lot of an inference or just a lot of, well, we see and what am I into sort of thing.
Yeah, we don't usually get a combination.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know, maybe this ended up being a little bit more like some of our episodes where it's a whole category.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
In the sense where whenever we did like the vampires episode, we were sampling from a wide variety of things.
Right,
so
right.
there was a wide variety of like how much you knew about various characters and creates kind of an uneven playing field.
Mm-hmm.
But this is all the same people making the same property. So it feels fair, but it's also like, it's not necessarily fair on the characters, but it's absolutely fair on the franchise.
I learned that there's a very hard limit for me on certain, like, I could do the therapy / the trauma fuck up to a very specific point. Because let me tell you, because I actually did learn something from this episode. I did not know prior to doing my research for this that you could romance Aerie.
Oh,
In
yeah?
Baldur's Gate 2.
Really?
I did not know you could do that.
Oh, wow.
And it made me so
Actually,
mad.
yeah.
It never...
Same mode, because I was like, wait, you can romance Aerie? Why would you want to?
Yeah. Why would you want... Who would try? Yeah, it never occurred to me.
That's wild.
So, yeah, I just think that I am generally, as y'all know, I'm generally the person who will be like, yes, definitely give me your dark past and your secrets. I will fuck all the pain away. But, there's limits to that, and not just limits to, like, how much effort I want to put into it, but limits to, like, whether the entire concept is viable at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely learned that, for me, there's a lot of, like, where in the story would I be willing to fuck somebody?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Because, like, there are points where, with Saravok where I would not be, but then there are enough points that I would put him at 3. Like, Shadowheart, there are points where I would just not be into it, but I would be. Same with Viconia. I would not be into fucking her in, like, 3, but the other 2 games, sure.
Right.
So, and forgive me for bringing this back to let's unpack that for a second. When you were putting your list together, did you kind of, like, cherry pick the characters that they're most appealing, or did you try to get them?
I tried to like intermix it here. Like I had Viconia down so far because even though I'd probably have her up higher if I were basing her on 1 or 2, I was like, how far does 3 bring her down? And brought it to 7.
All right.
Yeah, some interesting stuff here today.
It was fun, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, I think that about does it. All that is left is for us to plug the various projects and such that we are involved with and would like the audience to know about. Mac.
Howdy, I'm Mac. You can find out more about me at crookedrussiancam.horse.or.gay, where I am generally playing around on podcasts such as Jim Jammer, where I play Cacophony and a live play 5e thing, or on I Will Fight You, where I argue with people about stuff.
Yeah! I'm actually gonna be on I Will Fight You Soon to talk about...
Bob is joining us on I Will Fight You Soon.
Talk about Tu Wong Fu. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar.
Hell yeah, that movie rules.
I fucking love it. I'm so excited.
I've never seen it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, fuck. It's magical.
I love that movie.
Miles, you got anything you want to plug?
No. I mean, I guess
You sound relieved.
No, I'm not. It actually makes me very sad that I have nothing to plug because I miss podcasting. And I do not want to be doing the job that I gave up podcasting for anymore. But that's okay. I actually do still do one podcast regularly, I should mention. So if you are not listening to or a patron of the Unspoiled Podcast Network, you should be. If you're a patron, you can listen to me and Natasha Winters. Right now, we are deep into the Sookie Stackhouse books that they based True Blood on. And we now's a good time to come in because we just came out the other side of some shit. Because there's a couple of books in that series and I'm like, man, if I wasn't doing this podcast, I would not be reading these books anymore. But we're on the other side of that, and we're on the upswing. It's getting better. I really, really love those books way more than I thought I would.
All right.
And so yeah, if you want to hear us talk about that, and Tasha and I have done, as you all know, have done all kinds of stuff. Covered movies, covered book series, comics, all Dark Tower, Sandman, fucking Twilight, fucking all kinds of shit. So, yeah, and she, of course, does lots of other stuff with a bunch of her other cast of co-hosts. So, yeah, you should definitely, they're doing Hunger Games right now. And so if you like Hunger Games, you should definitely listen to her and Roshan talking about that. So,
Nice.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Very good. I do Garden Plots of Skeletor, or I'm one of the people who does Garden Plots of Skeletor. I'm the voice of Skeletor and also the editor. Bob writes it along with previous Hard Choices guest Marissa Bond and Hub. I plug it all the time on the show. You know what it is. It's some gardening advice, some character comedy, some drama. It's on hiatus right now, but it will be coming back sometime later this year. Mm-hmm. One other thing I do want to plug that I'm not directly involved with, my sister Claire, previous guest on this very program, is currently running an actual play RPG podcast called Binary Break. It is set in the world of Digimon. I listen to several actual play podcasts, and this one is hands down the best.
Wow.
It's great. And I'm not just saying that because Claire is my sister and I want to promote her work, although she is and I do. But Binary Break is just... it's terrific. It's really, really funny. Some really great character stuff. I can't recommend it highly enough. If you like Digimon even a little bit, or you think you might like Digimon, it's comes highly recommended from me.
Damn. All right, and I am Meganbob, the creator and horny genius behind Hard Choices. Guess what? If you go over to patreon.com/hardchoices, you can get a bunch of bonus content. That's obviously what you can get. However, if you subscribe at the $4.20 level or higher over at the Hard Choices Patreon before the final day of February, you are in the running for one of 3 Irish farmer calendars that I'm giving away.
Nice.
Dan, tell me what you think of this fine piece of wall art.
Wow. Well, I enjoy this rather narrow lad sitting on a stack of hay reading a book that says sex instructions for farmers. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's worth the price of admission alone.
I mean, also, it's an Irish calendar. You get to find out about secret holidays that we don't have.
Ooh, that's true.
Bank holidays.
I'm seeing a gently scruffed gentleman with a tasteful amount of chest hair, wearing I would describe that as a cabbie hat. I'm not sure if there's
I believe they call it a farmer's cap.
A farmer's cap, okay. But he's sitting in a bed surrounded by rabbits. That's very nice. Well, there's a gentleman wearing, I want to say, brown corduroy pants, no shirt, with just about the furriest forearms I've ever seen in my life, wearing another farmer's cap, speaking on a wired telephone with a curly cord, whilst doing his nails with an emery board roughly the size of a cricket bat.
I think it's probably for, like, horses or something?
That would explain it, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of goodness in this calendar, is really what we're coming to here.
That's the theme of the presentation.
Yes.
And you know what else you get if you subscribe at the $4.20 or higher tier? You get entrance to Bad Choices, the live and intoxicated version of Hard Choices, which is coming up. Yes, this is a blessed time. It is arriving. Put it on your calendars now and take the Sunday off because it's happening on April 20th, 420. This just happened to be how the scheduling worked out. I got very lucky. But it's happening at 5 p.m. Pacific on 420. We're talking Hanna-Barbera. I might say things about Huckleberry Hound that get me on a list somewhere. And do you know who else is going to be there? Stella fucking Cheeks, Annie fucking Creighton, James fucking D'Amato. Ask yourself, can you afford to miss out on something that will haunt you and secretly turn you on for the rest of your life? I think we know that, like, in your heart, what that answer is. Head over to patreon.com/hardchoices and subscribe at the $4.20 or higher tier and get in to see filthy, intoxicated shenanigans that aren't fit for public consumption and must be hidden behind a paywall to hide our shame and preserve our tattered reputations. And if you're like, I can't make that, I have 420 plans, don't worry, we always tape it and then it's always released to the patrons afterwards as a podcast for those of you who are like, video content, fuck that, which I understand. All right, April 20th, 5 p.m. Pacific time, dare to live deliciously. Join us.
I am stoked for that episode. I cannot wait.
Oh my God. It is. I have been planning this episode since I started Hard Choices. This episode, I hope it is not my magnum opus. I hope I have further heights after this. But god damn, this is going to be a fucking Mona Lisa. All right.
It's going to get famous because he gets stolen?
I hope not. I hope it gets famous because everyone's fucking obsessed with it. But like in a horny way.
Yeah.
I guess there is one more thing I should probably plug, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, if I'm doing my job properly. If you are a person who needs to know all about the latest news in professional wrestling, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get a life. Get a life. Fucking find a different fandom. What is your problem?
It's a bet.
Who hurt you?
And you should come back next month because we are going to be talking about Our Flag Means Death. with. It's going to be fucking tremendous and heartfelt and gay as fuck. All right. Stay hard. This has been Hard Choices. If you want to show your support and get even more goofs from behind the scenes, visit patreon.com/hard choices and become a patron. You'll get exclusive voting rights and participation in every weird new thing we do. If you like the show, please consider leaving a 5-star rating and review on the podcatcher of your choice. It shows people what's fun about the show and makes it easier for others to find it too. This episode produced by Dan Mulcairn. Go listen to Garden Plots with Skeletor. He's a great Skeletor. Our theme song is Funk Me by Soundroll. This piece and all music used in this production is licensed through Upbeat. You can find details in our show notes and listen to more great tunes at upbeat.io, spelled UPPBEAT.io. The Hard Choices logo is designed by Claire Mulcairn. If you'd like to get into touch with us, look for the Smash Fiction Fan Faction on Facebook and join the conversation. Thank you so much for listening and hanging out with us. You're a peach!